Hi everyone, good evening. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about Django Framework. So let's start this session today. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, hope you are able to see my screen. So yeah. So today we are going to discuss about Django Framework. So what exactly is Django? So whenever we work on website development, so there are two important parts, right? So one is front end, the other thing is backend framework. So front end is something like the forms you see, the icons or the visuals, whatever you see, and how the entire front end is structured. That's an entirely different story. But when it comes to Django, okay, it completely focuses on the development framework that helps in building a high quality web application. Okay, so the main you have multiple frameworks available. Yeah, you have multiple frameworks available, like you have Flask, especially in Python you have Flask, maybe something like PHP, or maybe there are so many other frameworks available. So today we are going to discuss about Django, which is like which is very helpful in quickly developing a web application. So somebody is asking, are you going to teach Django? So we are going to cover only the high level implementation of the Django, because so if we want to learn Django completely from the scratch, each and everything, so that itself will take at least I would say 5 to 6 sessions minimum. Okay, so it's a very huge topic, but today so we'll complete one end-to-end implementation. We'll create a simple web application. So we'll discuss on how to access, how to make it dynamic, how do we pass the values to that web application dynamically from a backend database. So it's a simple exercise we'll do, but it will give you complete understanding of how Django actually works. Okay, maybe we'll not cover very complex implementation of, or will not develop any complex web applications as such, because itself it will take a lot of time. So we'll cover a basic basic web application, and we'll try to understand Django framework first, how exactly Django works, etc. Okay, we'll focus on that primarily. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you see, Django is dependent on some philosophies. So especially when you compare Django to Flask, especially Flask is highly flexible. but so you need to have a thorough knowledge of all the framework related things. But when it comes to Django, okay, you can even though the flexibility is somewhat less, but you can quickly develop web applications without having okay much knowledge into how what do you say, so actual implementation things and all. So so when it comes to Django has these design philosophies, like it is loosely coupled. Okay, so every component is independent of other. So you will understand that when we go through these actual implementation process. But so you can right now you can imagine that every component of the Django is independent of other, so that okay, it gives you flexibility of editing components independently. Okay, less coding. So everything should be developed exactly in one place. Yeah, so something like we have seen functions, right? So whenever you develop one function, okay, so the idea is to prevent the repeatability, right? So instead of you writing those 100 lines or 10 lines of the code every time, you just, if you can just import one function and use it, so that is nothing but preventing repeatability, right? So kind of that. So Django relies on, okay, don't repeat yourself philosophy, and it's fast development. So you will see it eventually. And clean design. Okay, so Django strictly maintains a clean design through its own code and makes it easy to follow web development practices anyway. Okay, so main important thing is we'll discuss about okay, the main parts of okay, Django. That is, there are three important parts. So one is model. Okay, model is something responsible for maintaining the data. How do you, suppose let's say you go to a website and you enter some data. Suppose let's say there are some, you are familiar with forms, right? So user forms. Okay, user enters some information like his name, his phone number, his email address, etc. So that data, once you enter the data, that data has to be collected in the backend. It has to be stored in some form and shape, right? So whenever you are dealing with some data, okay, so you need to use model part or model okay, component of Django. Okay, so either it is for fetching the data from the database and giving it to the front end, or taking data from the front end forms and storing it in the database. Whatever it is, whenever you are dealing with some data related aspects, you will use model component of that. Okay, so then comes view. Basically view, okay, what happens whenever user interacts, okay, the kind of business logics or what exactly needs to be rendered to the user, everything is dependent on the view component of the Django. Suppose if you click on some link, and what so what is the output you it has to give to the user, etc. All those logics, everything is controlled by the view. Okay, and finally template. So template is nothing but okay, static parts of the desired HTML output or dynamic part. Okay, it is something like okay, a template where you can store the information in a specific format, and user can retrieve that. Okay, so if you see, this is how the overall structure is there. So when user, okay, logs into some website, the moment he does something in the website, okay, it triggers the Django framework, and Django will first call the URL component. Okay, so URLs is nothing but okay, whatever you, okay, you see over the web, right? So URL in turn, okay, is dependent on the view component. It interacts with model component as well as the template component. So think of template as a structure, okay, basic structure of the okay, a response you get over the web. And suppose let's say there is something like username, and after that okay, it has to give the username. So username is standard across all the users, right? I mean, whoever accesses that website, username, that text will be the common, but actual username, whether it is let's say XYZ or ABC, whatever it is, that has to be fetched from the model component. Think of template is like a structure. It's a template. The name itself suggests it's a template, but the values which are getting populated in the template, which will be the from the model component of the Django. So how do you populate the values in a template? Okay, that overall logic will be controlled by the view. Okay, so that's how view, model, and template, these three components go hand on hand, and they will render the response, and they will give it back to the user. Okay, so Django, think of it is only the backend framework. It is used for the backend framework development. Okay, so let's okay, let's first see how do we install Django. Okay, let me do that first. Let me use PyCharm for this. Just opening my prompt. And there is some issue. Let me do it from the scratch. Okay. So first thing what I've done is, okay, I have created a folder in my, okay, Windows. Yes. So I've created a folder called demo. Okay, let me show you that folder. Okay, I have created a folder called demo. So before installing Django, so even I mean, it is not about Django. Whenever you are working on any development related activities, it is always suggested that you need to create a virtual environment. So when I say virtual environment, so what exactly is that? So basically, this is a Python installation. Okay, so whatever the packages you install, okay, everything will be done in an environment. But what if, let's say, most of the time what happens is some libraries and all, it will have different versions. When I say versions, so Python is an open source development community, right? So many people will work on these libraries day in day out. Suppose, let's say, you have a version 1 now, so again maybe 3 months later they will make some changes and they will make it version 2, after that version 3, something like that. Somebody is asking, can we do Django in Jupyter? Yes, maybe you can do, but the thing is that whenever it comes to app development, it is always suggested that you use either VS Code or PyCharm, something like these IDEs will help you a lot in maintaining. So especially this, if you see this project hierarchy and all, it is very difficult to see it in Jupyter, right? Maybe you can execute few codes, but it is very difficult to okay, just go through the folder structure and check few different ports and debug, especially if you have something some file imported and you can go through the other file. You can open multiple files simultaneously. That flexibility and the debugging capability you will not get in Jupyter. Whenever it comes to app development or any complex tasks, it is always suggested that you use IDEs, especially Python or VS Code. Okay, so where are we? We are discussing about, whenever we have multiple libraries, etc. Suppose, let's say you are developing one application. Okay, so you are working on one project which requires a library. Let's say, library called, let's say, Pandas. Okay, Pandas is a library version, let's say 2.0. Okay, so there is let's say this is for project 1. Okay, let's say another project requires Pandas version 3.0. Okay, this is for project 2. Maybe because what happens is, whenever these people are working on these especially famous libraries like Pandas, NumPy, SciPy, these libraries are good, but let's say there are some libraries, they won't take they won't consider all the scenarios to come up with the new versions. Okay, so it's something like maybe that new version will be compatible with few things, but might not be compatible with some other things. It can happen. So the moment they release new version and they realize users escalating with some issues and all, they will make those changes and release one more version. So suppose maybe if you are in this situation wherein your one project requires version 2.0 and another project requires 3.0, let's say. So how do we handle those cases? So that's when these virtual environments come into picture. Okay, so what happens is your entire Python environment will be packaged into a separate space. You can think of there is an environment specially created for you. Okay, whatever you do that resides in that environment, it will not affect the other environment. You are think of you are creating boxes inside the big environment. Okay, one box is one environment, and whatever you do, it resides in that environment only. It will not affect the other environment. Okay, so typically whenever we are working on these development projects, first we need to create a virtual environment. Okay, how do we create? There are two methods. One is either you can use virtual environment method. So something called create virtual environment using virtual virtual env method. Otherwise, there is something called conda create environment. You can use both of them. Any of them. Okay. Either you can follow this virtual environment method or conda create. So conda is nothing but whenever you install Anaconda in your system. Okay. So that takes care of the entire Python installation as well as the default packages, and also it has the flexibility of combining the environment as well as the existing packages. The moment you create conda create environment, okay, whatever the packages which are present in the base environment will be copied and will be automatically installed. Okay, so I just followed conda create environment for this. Okay, so the way to create is just you write conda create environment. Okay, it takes a lot of time. I'll not execute this code. Okay, just create environment and the environment name. Suppose let's say I want to create Django environment, something like this. Okay, I just need to write conda create environment and Django underscore environment. It will take at least 15 to 20 minutes for install, especially in my laptop. So that's why I'm not installing it again. I already did that. Okay, you just need to use this code conda create environment, and this Django underscore environment is the environment name. This is the syntax. Okay, there are so many optional arguments. Maybe you can create an environment with specification from YAML file. .yaml file is nothing but it's a text file wherein you can mention all the requirements. So, or maybe I can create with a specific Python version also. So I can create an environment with Python 3.6 or Python 3.8 or Python 3.9. I can go ahead and do all those things. Okay. So once I create an environment, the next important thing is you just install, okay, Django. That's it. Okay. As simple as that. PIP install, like we install the different packages in Python, right? It is the same thing here. You just need to use PIP, install, and Django. Okay. So the next important thing is you need to, okay, once these two things are done, okay. So in PyCharm, especially what you need to do is you need to go to settings, okay, and in Python interpreter, you can select, you can see here. So I have these three different environments available. Okay, one is this one I created for my other project optimization. So this is Django environment. This one I created just now for this session. So this is the default environment. So like this, I have different environments present in this particular PyCharm IDE. Okay, I can use any of them. Okay, currently I'm using this Django environment. Okay, you can see all the packages available in this particular environment. I have this Anaconda client, I have this book, so many packages I have available. These are all Matplotlib, all the default packages I have directly available in this particular environment. The beauty of Conda, I mean, creating an environment using Conda is all the packages will be automatically installed. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So we are in this demo. Let me, okay. Let me create a project. How do we create the project? Let's see that. Okay. You need to create Django admin, and the syntax is start project and the project name. Let me take demo 2. Can we, somebody is asking, can we directly install PyCharm? Yes, you can directly install. Just go to JetBrains. So just search for PyCharm JetBrains and you will get .exe file and you can directly install it. Okay, Django admin start project and demo 2. Okay, so the moment I create, let Django admin start. Okay, the moment I created this, I executed this Django admin start project demo 2. You can see, okay, I have this demo 2. Okay, so if you see, so the moment I create this demo 2, let me show you in the folder structure as well. So how it creates all these files, etc. Okay, if you can see the folder structure. So this is the overall, this is the folder I've created previously. In that, the moment I executed this command, that is Django -admin start project, it automatically creates this particular folder structure for me. So first is initialization file. So this is a common file whenever we create this, and there is something called settings, there is something called URLs, there is something called WSGI. Okay, so we'll go through each and every file, what exactly that is needed for, and there is something called manage.py file. So this is the main file which manages the complete project. Okay, so let's see what are these individual files and why they are used for. Okay. Okay, so settings has all the project settings. Okay, what are the different applications in it? Let me show you first. This is settings. Yeah. So settings, it has the base directory, base underscore directory. So that is nothing but so you have something called OS module, which gives you the directory of the current path, etc. automatically. Okay, so it is creating base directory. So something called okay, installed apps, middleware. What is the middleware used for the security purpose? So where are the templates? Okay, so if you want to okay deploy this application to some server, okay, so you can use WSGI. This exposes this particular application to web. If you want to deploy it in a particular server, you can use WSGI. So this is something called URLs. Basically, whenever you go to particular website, okay, you see there will be some base website URL name, something like let's say www.somexyz.com slash okay homepage slash index slash about us. So there will be base URL and there will be individual pages, right? So this URL patterns is used for okay navigation of a particular yeah, path and what exactly it needs to render. Suppose this particular syntax, the meaning is if user asks for admin page, then it needs to render admin.site.urls. Okay. Anyway, we'll discuss about this in detail. So, okay, this is how the folder structure is automatically created for you. So this is the folder. Let's say this is the main basic demo, and this is the project we have created. Okay, so this is a project. Let's discuss about app. Okay, so think of basically whenever we say project, maybe overall web application is a project, but in an application, okay, there will be so many components, right? There will be so many components. Suppose if you think of a e-commerce website, okay, the moment you place an order, okay, order placing module is let's say one separate okay component. Let's say if you want to search and if you're searching for something and something like an Amazon is giving you some recommendations, that recommendations is another module. And once you click on the payment, you will go to some other module wherein so your payment process will be taken care. So like that, there will be so many components, right? So whenever we are creating a complex application, so complex project, it is always better to treat individual components as individual sub apps. You can think of main application and sub application. Okay, so that's what we are going to do here. Okay, so let's create a app. Okay, so for creating an app, what you need to do is you need to use a command called start app. Let's say I want to create a demo application 2. The moment I create a demo application 2, I should get this demo application 2. Okay, you can see it has so many other components, like it has admin, it has apps.py, model.py, tests.py, views.py. Okay, so even one application has again separate views. Okay, so the main project has views.py. You have seen that, urls.py. Okay, and this application will also have that. Okay, so let's build a simple application, then you will understand all these things. Right now it may sound okay, like a technical jargon for you. The moment we see a real application being developed, you will understand this. Okay, okay, yeah. So let me create a simple application. So something like, okay, the moment, so first of all, let me see, okay, now I have created an app and now I have these things. Let me first see if at all I am able to see my server, okay, up and running. I have created a project and I have created an app. Let me see if I am able to see my server. Okay, so the way to run a server is Python. So you need to use Python command, because if you see this manage.py, so there is a file called manage.py. Okay, so it is used for managing your entire application. In order to invoke this particular file, okay, you need to use, in order to execute this file, you need to use Python manage.py. Then if you want to run server, you need to use run server. Okay, so you can see my server is present here in this location, in this local host location. Sorry, when we use Control C, it is nothing but okay, quitting the server. My bad. Again, let me execute this. Okay, first of all, before that, let me go into this particular and so I have created one more project. So previously, whatever the project you have created, I don't want to club both of them together. Let me open this demo 2 only, so that there is no confusion. Let me create a new window. Okay, so where is this view, tool windows and terminal? Okay, I just navigated to that directly demo 2, just to okay, avoid the confusion, because we are seeing so many folders and names, it will be confusing. Okay, let me use the Django admin, and for creating an app, I need to use start app, demo app. Second, not sorry. Okay, let me check my Python. Okay, okay, it is into different interpreter. Anyway, if I change the interpreter, it will take a lot of time. So I'm just installing in the direct interpreter itself. The moment we change one interpreter to another interpreter, it will take at least 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, just 2 minutes. My packages are getting installed. Okay, so now let me use. Okay, now the application is installed. Let me first I go. So if I want to run the server, I need to use run server. Okay. So can you see? So the moment I executed this server, okay, it is saying the installed work successfully. And so this is the basic web page they already developed, and they have kept it in URL space. So that's why you are seeing this particular okay web page. But the thing is, the idea is at least so we are able to okay call the server, right? The server is up and running. Okay, so now let's see if I don't want this particular page and I want some text to be okay thrown here instead of this Django release notes everything. Okay, let's see how do we create a simple HTML page and okay execute start the server. Let's say that. Okay, so first thing what we need to do is this demo app. Okay, I have something called views and I need to have okay URLs as well. Sorry, I need to create a Python file. Yeah, let me create URL start py. Okay, so what do I need to do is URL path. Basically, this is the main path. So what do I need to do? I need to print, let's say, something like HTTP. Sorry, this is a demo, or this is a training session by ExcelR. Okay. So I need to print something like this, but the thing is that you should not specify that directly in okay. You cannot specify directly like this. You need to follow. So this is what we want. I mean, I just started with the code way. So whenever the path is invoked, that is base path, without, I'm not specifying anything like let's say index page, or let's say home page, or let's say about us page, something like that, right? I'm not specifying anything. If I mention, okay, blank, then it means that essentially it means that the base directory or the base, whenever you call a website, the main page, whatever you see. So whenever I call that, I want to get this. Okay, this is what I'm saying. But in order to achieve this, you need to follow few things. Okay, let's see what are those. Okay, so first thing you need to do is, let's say this is main page and the name equal to, let me call this as main page. From dot import views, like I said in the beginning. Okay, so whatever okay, you are referring to a particular URL, but which URL needs to be displayed to the user and how it needs to be displayed, everything is controlled by the view, if you remember. So let me open that let's say this flowchart again. So first, whenever Django, okay, whenever user goes to a website, it invokes the Django framework and it calls the URLs. Once the URL is called, which URL needs to be, I mean, which data needs to be displayed and which templates need to be displayed, everything will be controlled by the view component. Okay, that's why in URL, whatever you want to render, you need to mention, okay, view component. Okay, let's say views.main. Okay, if I see, I don't have anything called main because I haven't created anything in the views, right? Let me go ahead and create some function. Okay, so which takes a request, basically a web request, HTTP request, and whenever the request is made, okay, it needs to return some response. Let's say, so this is a training session by ExcelR. Okay, so as we are saying, this is a HTTP response. Okay, you can't directly return a string. Okay, it has to be converted to HTTP response. So in order to do that, what you need to do is you have something called, some function called HTTP response. You just need to import that. Okay, once you import that, you can simply convert that into HTTP response. Okay, let me see, this is a training session by ExcelR. Okay, now I have something called views.main function. So let me go ahead and see now is the URLs. No, this is okay, yeah. Now there is no issue, right? Previously it was saying that there is no abuse. I mean, there is no main function. Now everything is good. Now let me try to, okay, let me try to refresh the server again and see if it is working. Okay, I need to execute the server. first in order to run the server, I need to use Python manage.py and run server. Let me see now. Still, I'm getting the previous URL only, right? Okay. So why I'm getting only the previous URL? Let me see. So this is the app, demo app. In that there is something called urls.py, and in that I have said that whenever user comes to the main page, just use this function which is present in the views.py module. Just use this function main. Okay, that is what I'm saying. And in views, whenever the control will be given to the URL. Okay, in that the control will be given to views.main, because whenever user calls for this home page, it uses views.main function. Then it goes to views.main function, and whenever the request comes to views.main function, it renders a HTTP response. This is good, but this entire thing is happening in only demo app. So that is one application we have created inside the entire project. Okay, in order for this particular thing to work, we need to mention, okay, we need to mention the path in the main project also. So what we need to do is, we just need to mention, and we say include, what is this, demo app dot URLs. Okay, but we don't have any include function. Let me first get that function also. Okay, so from django.urls, come on. Now let me save. Okay, now let me execute this and try to execute. Okay, now can you see? So this is a training session by ExcelR. Now we are getting this right. Instead of this Django, okay, web page we have seen wherein we are seeing the documentation, everything, right? Instead of that, we are able to create a custom web page with a simple text. That is, this is a training session by ExcelR. Anyway, this is a crude okay, text we have written here. There is no formatting, there is no color, there is no font, but this is absolutely fine. I mean, we are able to at least create a website now. Let's build on top of this. What are the different things we can do? Okay, so let me go ahead and change a few things. So first of all, is this clear, everyone? Let me repeat all the 3 steps we have done. The first thing what we have done is, inside the app, so we have created a URL pattern. So inside URL pattern, what we are saying is, whenever user comes to your website, whenever we say a blank here, I mean, if we don't specify anything here, this is nothing but the main page or root page. Okay, so whenever user calls this main page, okay, so we are saying that okay, execute a function in views.main. Okay, so the moment we say views.main, what happens? So there is a function which is we have created in views. So that is, whenever we say a function, it starts with the def and main, and it takes the request, okay, web request as an input. Whenever the request comes, it has to return a HTTP response. Okay, so these two things are fine. Okay, everything we are creating an app, but how do we make this app, okay, accessible in the main application? So that is when we are going to the main urls.py, and in that we are mentioning this path. Okay, so the moment we say path and this and include demo app.urls, whatever we have written in this demo.urls will be made accessible to the main project. Okay, we have made all those changes, and when we verified whether this is working or not, this is working. Okay, so let me show you a few things. Where is this? Okay, so instead of this, what I can do is, instead of simple text, I can go ahead and use HTML tags. This tag is for heading, right? Let me see if it is working. Okay, this is working, right? Now this is in heading format. Let's say I can change it to H2. There are multiple tags. You can use all any of the tags you want. You have H1, H2, H3, you have div tags, you have paragraph tags, you have forms tags. Okay, there are basically the thing is that you need to understand the moment you type something here, this is completely HTML markup language. Okay, so HTML language, whatever HTML language okay, you can use it in inside this HTML response function. Okay, it takes the HTML okay language or HTML text and it uses for giving the response to the user. Okay, is this clear, everyone? How did we create a simple app? And okay, how did we create a simple web page with simple text? If this is clear, we'll proceed to next important concept, which is instead of taking a test, can I take a web page and okay, and render it as a response to the user? We'll discuss about that. Everyone, is this clear? First of all, everyone, is the concept clear? How are we creating a simple apps? Okay. Okay. If it is clear, then what we can do is take a quick break and join back after 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, let's continue our discussion. Yeah. Okay. So what we have seen till now is how do we create a simple app and how do we render a simple text for a web page. Okay, we have seen that, but this is not in line with whatever the design philosophy we discussed in the beginning, right? So everything has to be loosely coupled, and if we want to get some web page, we should not write it here. So if we can store that web page somewhere and just render the web page here, so that will be in line with the design philosophy, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So how do we create a web page? Okay, let's see that. Yeah. So first for creating that, let me create a folder directory. Let me say it is templates. Okay, because I'm using that. So basically, this is template language, right? So whatever I'm creating in the template, I'll be using it for populating my web page. Okay. So till now we just completed the view part of it. Okay. Now we are getting into the template part of it. Then we'll discuss about the model part of it. Okay. Let's say template. Let me create a basic HTML file. Let me create main. Let me see. This is title. Django by ExcelR. Okay, this is a particular web page I have created, and let me see how do I render this particular page. Okay, from my view.py. Instead of http.response, what we can do is we can use render. The first argument is request, and the second argument is template name. What is the template name? I need to use that. So that is main.html. Let me do this. Okay, first of all, whenever we are making any changes, what we need to do is python manage.py migrate, so that all the changes will be migrated. Okay, let me execute this and let me run my server now. Manage.py run server. Now let me see if I'll get this website or not. Template does not exist at all. Why? So why are we getting this error? So we are saying main.html, but in order for the Django framework to get the location of this, we need to manually specify that. So where do we specify that? Let's go to our main application. Let's go to settings. We need to mention that in templates. os.path.join. We have something called, if you see, the base directory is already created here, right? Base directory is the OS path name. So once you have base directory is nothing but the directory of the demo tool. Okay. So whatever the folder I have used for this particular project, that is the base directory. So it automatically picks that using os.path.directory name and absolute path of the file. Based on that, it automatically gets this base directory. So once I have the base directory, okay, I need to go to templates folder, right? Basically, in base directory, I have the templates. I need to join the base directory / templates for getting my main.html. So that is what I'm going to do now. Okay, I have the base directory. Then in quotes, I'll mention templates or templates. Okay, I mentioned it. No issues. Let me execute this again. Okay, now can you see? So this is a training session and Django by ExcelR. Welcome to ExcelR. If you see, so this web page name itself changed because we changed it in the HTML code, right? In title we changed, so it got changed to welcome to ExcelR, and there is a text. Whatever we entered here, it is coming. So let me repeat the two important steps again. So first thing, what we need to do is we need to create a template folder. In that, so we just created a basic HTML. The moment we create HTML, okay, so it is something like head and body and title, all these different tags, okay, automatically we got from the template. Okay, so basically in the title we changed it to ExcelR, so title got changed. So the main idea is you can think of the modularization of the different tasks we are doing. So whatever we are changing in the main.html, okay, it automatically will get reflected in this web page without you explicitly changing it in views.main function, right? In previously what we have done is we used HTTP response, so we had to manually write. Just imagine you writing a lengthy code here, and if you have multiple let's say requests and multiple functions corresponding to those requests, it is very cumbersome process, right? Instead of you editing everything here, what if you have another place where there are templates resides and you can simply edit them? Okay, you can use a template by just specifying the template name. Okay, so but for Django framework to understand where exactly this particular template is present, what you need to do is you need to go to settings and you need to specifically mention where exactly the templates are residing. So we mentioned os.path.join of base directory. Base directory is nothing but the directory of this particular project. Okay, it is automatically getting created. The moment we create a project, all these files are automatically getting created for you. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can directly give the path of the template folder and directly without os.path.join. So, okay. So the moment you use os.path, it's a relative, it's a function which helps you to identify automatically, right? So suppose, let's say I create one more, project, maybe, let's say in a different location. I don't need to remember that location and okay, copy paste from, let's say, C slash or something, user slash something. I don't need to copy the entire folder path, right? The moment I specify os.path dot directory name or os.path dot absolute path. So these are the functions available in the OS module, which gives you the path location automatically. So that's why I'm using that. Yeah, absolutely, you are right. Whoever it is asking. So we can directly give the path of the template folder indirectly without OS. Okay. OS is helping you. That's it. I mean, it is making your life easier. If you want to give it directly, you can absolutely. Okay. So yeah, os.path.base directory. It has the templates. So it is nothing but let's say d/Django/demo/demo/templates. So that's how the output will be given. Okay. Once you have the directory, then your Django framework will be able to identify the template where exactly is present, and it will use that for okay giving out so displaying one web page. So let me go ahead and so this is views.py. So if I want to create one more web page, let's say I will say about us request return. Let me create one more web page about us.html. Then what do I need to do? I need to create one more web page. Okay, online, some random text I'm typing. Okay. Okay, we created a one more HTML page, and we created in okay views. What is the next thing I need to do? I need to go to URLs, and I need to mention start about us name to let me keep about us. No, sometimes it will not be able to find. Okay, the same thing. Okay, no issues. Now let me go ahead and copy this in main URLs files as well. Okay, sorry, my bad. Okay, include. Now let me check. Okay, no issues. System check identified, no issues. Okay, let me now execute. Okay, this is the main. Okay, So I have created multiple pages, right? So the base page is, it has some text, and now I created one more page, okay, which says we provide trainings offline and online, some random text I'm writing. Okay, this is fine, but okay, till now, when we say template, what is a template? Template means it has to have some structure, but the actual values needs to come from somewhere dynamically. I mean, so suppose, let's say if we say that okay, so this is something like this is a training session on Django by ExcelR. Okay, maybe let's say um, the training session changes. Okay, you should be in a position to automatically, okay, okay, change this without changing the text. Okay, manually without changing the text. So the template has to remain same, like we discussed, right? It's a templatized okay process we are doing. So in this template, there has to be some provision to add these values dynamically. Okay, let's discuss about that. How do we do it? Okay, yeah, there is this. Let's go to main. Let's go to views first. Instead of this web page, okay, first let's okay, let's discuss in the web page itself. So what you can do is, you can do, okay, something called, let's say, instead let's say session. Let me provide okay, let's say AngularJS, something like that. Okay, so the moment I say some text here, okay, this text has to be, okay, incorporated, or it has to be substituted in a particular placeholder in HTML. That's what we want, right? So how do we do this? So instead of Django, what you can do is, okay, yeah, now it is loading without any issue. So this is how, this is a dynamic thing now. Let me execute this. So we can see it changed to AngularJS. So let me tell you what is the main benefit of this. Okay, suppose, let's say, as this is a Python environment, okay, what I can do is, let's say I have a list of okay, sessions equal to, okay, I can get this AngularJS, let's say, next Django, next let's say something called maybe C++, Java, whatever it is. Okay, so this is sessions. What I can do here is, instead of direct value, I can take sessions of, let's say, 0. Okay, so these values I can get from anywhere, right? I can get from some database, or I can get from some calculations or some kind of programming I do in Python. Okay, so if you see here, some space issue. Okay, yeah. So let me save this and let me first, let's say instead of 1, let me take 2. Let me now refresh my web page. See here, this is a training session on C++. If I change it to, let's say 3, save. Okay, this is a training session on Java by ExcelR. So are you able to understand now? So why this is dynamic? How can we do this dynamic? So especially with the templates. So let's say this is, okay, this is one thing. Okay, let's say tutor. I want to take tutors of, let's say 1. Tutors equal to, let's say ABC, XYZ, let's say, okay, yes, something like this. Okay, so I have specified something like this. Now let me go to main.html and change by, instead of this, I'll say tutor. Now let me see, there are no issues. Let me check this. Okay, this is training session on Java by XYZ. So like this, you can change. So you can build a template wherever you think that the values can change in future. Okay, you can actually mention like this in this format. Okay, this is Jinja format. So in this, so you can mention the variable names. Okay, these variable names can be populated dynamically. Okay, so if you see here, so this is, where is this views? Yeah, so views, we are populating these things very dynamically, right? So we are taking a list and we are taking one value from a list and populating that in the HTML code. Okay, so series integration, you are doing some operations on Python and the result of which is, okay, placed in the HTML code dynamically. And once you get a HTML page with the dynamic inputs from the Python, you are rendering it using the framework. Okay, hope this is clear, everyone. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to the next concept. Somebody has some doubt. So what is the doubt? How many days are there? Okay. Okay, fine. It is not related to any Python. Okay. So now, yeah. Now let's create, okay, one more template. So something like what we can think of is when you scroll through multiple web pages in a website, every web page has a similar structure, right? So something like maybe the header or the footer or the color patterns or the font styles. So there will be something called okay, one second. Yeah, so there will be some basic okay template which will be followed across the website for all the pages, right? So so let's discuss about how do we achieve the same using this templatized approach. So what we are going to do is we are going to create one more HTML page. Let's say it as a base page. Okay, base page. Let me change a background color. Let me make it let's say blue. Okay, so then what we are going to do is we are going to specify a specific pattern here. So whatever okay we create in this particular block of the code, we can actually dynamically paste it from some other HTML page. Okay, so let's see how do we do it. The way to do it is you need to start with curly braces, and this is block content. Let's say the block and the percentage. So the meaning is whatever we specify here, okay, so it will be sitting in between these two lines, whatever we are specifying. So we need to mention the same structure in the actual HTML so that that HTML will be used here. So this is nothing but a specifying a placeholder for HTML code. Okay, the main code will not change. Okay, but it will come and sit here. Okay, let us go ahead and okay, this is my main code. So what I'll do is, okay, let me create one more HTML. Instead of this, just to know all these things because I don't want to use any formatting. So whatever the formatting that base has this formatting. Okay, whatever the code I write in main, that will come and sit in the base HTML. Okay, in order to do that, what you need to do is you need to use command function called extends. First, everything has to be started with percentage symbol extends. Then in that you will say base.html percentage. Okay. Now let's start again. So the same thing we can mention block content percentage. Then the actual HTML code, whatever we want, we can write it here. Now let's write h1 tag. This is training session by. So what is that we have used previously? Let me go ahead and use the same. Okay. Sessions, right? Okay. Session, one is session and tutor. Okay, let me go ahead and use the same. Session by tutor. Okay. So this is good. I have the content. Now let me close the block. So end block percentage. Okay. So whatever I am writing inside this code, okay, so this entire HTML code will be substituted in the base code inside this block. So there is something called this block and end block. Whatever we write in main.html, okay, this will be extended to the base.html inside this. Okay. So let me go ahead and save this and see. Second, there is some issue. Let me check. Block. Let me do all the migrations first. There are no migrations. Let me restart this server. Yeah, now it is running fine. So you can see this. So this is a training on Java by XYZ. So now I'll not change this main.html, but I play with the actual template, and you can see how this changes the format. Let me go ahead. So this is the main.html. This is where the actual values are getting captured. Okay, I'm not touching this particular file. So let's say instead of blue, I want to change it to some other color. Let's say green. Okay, let me check. Okay, now it is changing, right? Now it is changing to green. Let's say red. Okay, now it is changing the actual page color and all, right? This is one attribute we are playing with, but you can actually play with multiple attributes: body busy color, or let's say, okay, type, let's say font. So there will be, I'm not well versed with HTML, but yeah, there will be a lot of HTML tags you can play with. Okay, so this is how we handle the templates. So first thing what we have done is, first we directly handle using the HTML file. Okay, so then what we have done is we created a template for a HTML file, and whatever the HTML content we want to paste in that, we created using one more file. The way to do it is, first in the template HTML, so what you can do is you can create percentage block content. You can start the block and you can end the block, and whatever the content you want to paste inside the block, that comes from a different file. This is the actual content file. Okay, this is base.html is a template file, and this is the actual content file. You can see the session as well as tutors are everything coming dynamically from views.py. Again, here they are coming from two lists, which are Python native objects, right? So these are lists. From this list, we are taking the arguments and we are populating main.html and main.html. So you can think of, first we are getting some values from the Python and we are passing it to HTML file. Once the HTML file is populated with the dynamic values, this HTML text, once this is constructed, this is being passed to one more template file, and finally the final HTML file is constructed. See, so this is how we need to create. First, we need to edit in views.py. We need to work on actual values and all. We need to which we want to pass to HTML file. Once the HTML file is created, then you can use that HTML file to be template, to be incorporated to template. Okay, this is also HTML, this is also HTML, but the thing is that here the entire format will remain same, right? You won't change. Suppose let's say a website is in let's say some color or some font, it will not change across all the HTML pages, right? It will not change, it will not look good. Maybe some places it can change, but most of the times the actual architecture and the structure of the website and the font and the color and the visuals or the basic design philosophy will not change across the website. So that's the reason. So first we can create a template, then you can then you can construct a HTML file dynamically by taking the values from the Python, and you can use it to finally come up with the HTML file. Okay. Hope this is clear, everyone. Okay. So let me discuss about how do we conditionally populate the content. When I say conditional population, that is nothing but using if conditions, if else conditions. So how do we populate, okay, different values? Let's see. So here we are seeing that, okay, we are extending base.html with the actual content we are getting from the Python values. That is fine. But let's say, okay, so if I get some values, this is fine. If I don't get any value, let me show you. Where is this views? Okay. One, two, three, four, five. There's nothing but 4. There are no issues. Okay, let me reload the file again. So if you can see, this is turning on. After that, there is no text because it is missing. So how do we handle this? Suppose let's say there will be some default value we want to populate in case of missing values and all. How do we handle that? Let's see that. Where is this main.html? So immediately after block content, what you can do is, okay, we can create something called percentage if session and percentage. Okay, if session is not missing, the meaning is it is not missing. Then again, what we can do is else close. Okay, let me copy paste this instead of this. If it is missing, what do I need to do? Then let's say if it is missing, I want to say it's a Python. Okay, I mean, this is just a random example. Okay, then once I completed everything, what do I need to do is okay, percentage and if and percentage. Let me save this. Okay, let me execute the code now. Can you see this now? This is training on Python, right? So let me change the first color. It's looking very odd. Okay, so whenever the value is missing, it is getting into the other loop. if you can see this, this is training on Python by tutor and if and block. This is training by something. Okay, so if the value is there, it is getting into this loop. If value is not there, it is getting into this loop. Okay, so like that you can mention the if conditions and take the control of the web page. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Any questions still here? Are you clear? Is the basic concept clear to everyone? Okay. Okay. Let me discuss about till now. What we discussed is we have discussed about view component of the Django. Then we discussed about template component. Now we'll discuss about the model component. What exactly is the model? So how can we create a model and okay. So populate the values as well as the fetch the values. Let's see that. So first, in order to create a model, so what we need to do is we need to go to models.py and we need to create a class. Let me create a simple model. Okay, let's say model underscore sample. The beauty about this particular thing is, so from Django, from Django.db, we are importing models. So model is a class. Okay. So the moment you create any new class, you can inherit all the properties of the model so that you don't need to explicitly create each and everything. We discussed about this when I mean when we are in Whoops concepts, right? So what is inheritance, etc. So once you create a class and you want to inherit the properties of that class to another class, you can simply use the inheritance, right? So that's what we are doing it now. So we are creating a class with all the properties of a model. Okay, so that automatically it creates that. We don't need to create it explicitly. So let's say, let me create few things. Username equal to, let's say, models dot okay. I need to specify what is that field. Okay, so I'm creating a char field, so I can mention max length that particular field can take. Let's say, let me specify 20 only. Let me create okay, username and email equal to models dot char field max underscore length equal to, let's say, let me give 30. Next, phone equal to models dot, what is this? This will be integer, right? Integer. There is no need to mention length. Yeah, let me create a simple model with using 3 fields. Then what we need to do is we need to create something called meta class. db underscore table equal to, let's say, this model underscore sample table. Let me use the same thing. Okay, I have created a simple model now. So then what do I need to do is I want to populate. So basically this is a database. Okay, so I'm creating a database model underscore sample. In that there is a table model underscore sample. I have username, I have email, I have phone. Okay, so I want to fetch the data from the backend database. So first let me show you. I don't have any models here. I have to create these models anyway. So let me show you the default databases. Yeah. So the default databases which gets automatically created for you is SQLite 3 database. Okay. So it will be automatically created in the backend. Whatever the model you create, okay, it can be used to create a specific structure in the database. Okay, so when I say specific structure, suppose let's say whenever you are dealing with the databases, you won't store the data in a single table, right? Some schema you will follow. You will create some fact tables, some dimension tables, etc. Anyway, we will not get into the database concepts. Okay, so the purpose of meta class is to create a table. Okay, so that's how we use the syntax here. Okay, this database is there. The next thing what I need to do is I need to create admin.py. So from dot, that means the root folder, import what is that I want to import. What is the name I have given? Model underscore sample. Model underscore sample. Okay, next admin.site.register. I want to register this model underscore sample. Okay, first I imported model underscore sample, then I am registering in the admin site. Okay, let me see if I can access the admin portal and populate this particular table. Okay, it says there is a username and there is a password, but I haven't given any username and password, right? So let me first give username and password. So the way to do it is manage dot any management related activity. You can use this, create super user. Okay, username, let me say ExcelR, email address ExcelR @ some random I'm giving. Then password, let's say demo. Yeah, I want to bypass this. This is fine. Okay, super user created successfully. ExcelR demo. Okay, so the moment I use this, first I need to run the server. For running the server, I need to use this python manage.py run server. Now the server is running. Now if I execute this, now I'm getting the server again. ExcelR demo. Okay, now I have authentication. Now I have the users. Okay, everything I can do. Anyway, I think so. We are out of time. Let's continue this discussion tomorrow. Okay, we'll continue with how do we create, how do we populate the tables, and how do we fetch the data from the table back again to the what do you say, these web pages. Yeah, we'll continue our discussion on this. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone.